if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you about it. It's free, which is amazing. And there are these really cool creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And you get to make money with no minimum listenership, which is really cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started right away.
Yoga teachers, mindfulness leaders, and energy workers, are you ready to stop side hustling and start making an income doing what you love? Welcome to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast. Each week, your host, Jessica Cross, dives into conversations with successful creatives in wellness, business, marketing, and more to uncover practical methods to take your business from A to B and have some fun along the way. Grab some tea and pull up a seat. Let's dive into this episode.
Welcome to Marketing Off the Mat. It's Jessica, and I'm so glad that you're here today. I hope that this is finding you so well and that you're maybe sitting with a cup of tea, or perhaps you're on your way to the next thing and just taking a couple of moments to support yourself and your business in this space in between. So thank you for sharing the space with me as well. So today we're talking about something that I'm really, really passionate about, and it's this saying that build it and they will come when it comes to yoga business. And if you can hear the tone in my voice and has listened to any of the show, you probably know that I am in opposition with that, because building a business is actually build it, tell them about it, and then they will come. It's not just building it and they will come. We have to tell people what it is that we do, why we are the ones that can help them, and to help them get to know us a little bit better so we can be top of mind when folks are making their choices in choosing a yoga class or a yoga studio or a massage therapist or a Reiki practitioner. We want to be top of mind because we built that relationship with them and they know who we are. They know what it is that we do. So how do we do that? Well, fortunately, in today's every day, we have so many tools at our fingertips, maybe too many tools. And I was, recently talking on the show with Crystal Borup, and she says something, it's like, marketing is endless. We can do so many things. So we have to figure out what it is, the things that we want to focus on and the tools that we most resonate with in building a business. So one of those for many teachers and for myself is Instagram. We spend a lot of time on Instagram. And I think even riding my own wave in having the energy and the interest and the ability to show up and tell people who I am, or tell people about it, as we were saying in that scenario on Instagram, it can be really draining. We can just spend a ton of time and look up and hours have gone by and we haven't gotten to planning our class or thinking about any of the other marketing channels. So I think with that in mind, we can go so far on the spectrum that we spend so much time. And then for the others that are listening, they may not even have tried. You may not even tried yet spending so much time on it or any time on Instagram because of the thought that it's all consuming. So how can we as teachers strike a balance between being glued to social media or Instagram and completely renouncing all social media and retreating to the woods? How can we strike a balance? So 2 words. We strike a balance by taking a sustainable approach. Okay, that sounds nice, but how do we get there? How do we figure out what this sustainable approach is? Well, I have a few journaling tips for you today to share. So if you are near your notebook with that cup of tea, maybe grab a notebook or open up your notes app. You can always do this later if you're driving. So I just wanted to share a few journaling prompts with you today on how can we find a sustainable approach when it comes to marketing ourselves on Instagram. Okay, so step number 1 of finding our sustainable approach on Instagram. I would like for you to first journal a list of all the situations that stress you out about social media. Just let it all out. Put it all down on paper. You can do bullet points if that's your jam, or you want to do paragraphs. Maybe you have a lot to say about what stresses you out or what could potentially stress you out if you've not ventured into social media yet. But I want you to give yourself, at least 5 to 10 minutes just to get it all out. So step number 2 is, once you have this list completed, if you just unfiltered, let everything out about what's stressing you out about social media. Tip number 2, look for trends in your list. So look for trends. And in this list, I would be willing to bet that there are some shoulds in your list. So I should be posting 7 days a week, or even once a week. There might be a should in there. You should be posting 3 to 5 stories. You should have this beautiful brand and tiled look to your Instagram, and all of your reels covers just make perfect sense and they're cohesive and gorgeous. There's probably a lot of shoulds here on this list. So take a look and see on your list, maybe circle some trends. Pay a lot of extra attention to where you're seeing the shoulds and how those shoulds, quote unquote, are adding things to your plate that aren't actually critical. All right, so now you have your first list. I'm going to ask you to flip a new page, grab a different sticky note, however you want to tackle this, but find a new clean sheet of paper, write a new list, and write out all that would feel good in creating this sustainable approach to your Instagram or to your social media. What would feel good? Posting once a week, posting 1 story a day, or posting Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or just on Sundays, or what would feel good? What would feel spacious? Get really, really granular. So think about the amount of posts you want to do, what kind of content you want to create, how much time you want to spend, how little time you want to spend. And then maybe dive into how you want to feel. How do you want to feel when you're creating this content? Do you want to feel excited or expansive, or what are those descriptors that really dive into how you want to feel? I want you to write all that stuff. Give yourself another 5 to 10 minutes. Now we have 2 lists. We have 2 sheets of paper with 2 different types of lists on here. So step number 4 is review your 2 lists. You have your circled lists on your first list has circled shoulds or underlined trends that you're seeing that's adding to your plate where you don't necessarily need to be. And then your second list has all of the ways that you want to feel, what feels sustainable, granularly, energetically, emotionally. You have all of that listed out. Look at your shoulds and look at your second list and see where you can replace some of those points of your shoulds. So if you're saying, I should on the first list be posting 5 days a week, and you see on your second list, actually, it would feel really good to post 1 day a week. Cross out the 5, add in the 1, and feel good about that. Feel empowered by listening to what it is that you need when showing up. And this might just be for a season if we're talking about the number of posts or how frequently you're actually on the platform. Maybe for this time in your business, this time in space, for just right now, maybe you're posting a little bit less, and that feels sustainable. And I would venture to guess that burning out completely is absolutely not a good idea. So posting once a week is great. That's a great way to stay engaged, to stay visible, and honor your own boundaries. And I gave you a little bit of a heads up on the last tip for this journaling exercise is, as we were saying, test it out. I would encourage you to commit to your new approach that you've created by merging these 2 lists and give it for 1 week, just 1 week, and document how it's going. How do you feel? What's coming up for you? Notice any change in the interactions that you have. Maybe if you're showing up to post once a week and you're just hanging out in stories, maybe you're enjoying the time that you're actually on stories or spending time in the DMs and having conversations. Maybe you're not, and that's okay too. Neither is good or bad. It's just information. So we're just taking in information from almost a scientific sense on how it is that we feel when we are implementing this plan. And this may be plan A, and you may have multiple plans that you try and versions of these two lists. But remember, you can implement what's working and you can get rid of the rest. You don't have to do any of these, by the way. But all I'm encouraging for you to do is that you might find your new way of showing up online and be invisible, telling people what it is that you do and how you can help them feel better in their lives, feel better in their body, know more about their body, feel like they can actually take on what it is that they have to do in their every single day. That's how we tell people how we can help them, is showing up and being visible. So this new approach might be a first attempt. It might be your third attempt, but don't give up until you find something manageable that works for you. Not what works for me, not what works for your teacher or your Instagram buddies, but what works for you. Because at the end of the day, we need you to feel like you have a sustainable approach to your marketing so you can continue to serve. We need more yoga. We need more healing and energy practices. We need people to have these tools so other people can have access to them, because we need them more than ever. So keep trying, keep attempting to find this sustainable approach through these journaling exercises. Maybe you'll find your own way too. And I'd love to hear about it once you've had some time to implement this journaling exercise. Send me a DM on Instagram and let me know what you thought. I would love to see how this is working for you. And maybe I'll share a little bit about what's working with me too. So I hope that you found this episode helpful. Thanks again for taking the time and the space to be here with me. It was an honor and a pleasure to be here with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast, and give yourself some gratitude for taking action in your wellness business journey. Please share this episode with someone you know who could use a fresh dose of inspiration. And we'd be thrilled if you would rate, review, and subscribe to Marketing Off the Mat on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Want to share an idea with Jessica? DM her at jessicacross.co on Instagram to continue the conversation, or find out how she can help you take the next right step in your business. Until next time, stay inspired and keep showing up.